So we've been doing it at St Pancras 2 years, but actually the Art Caring's been running for 3 years. It's supported by Kingston University. I'm their artist in residence at the School of Nursing there. So yeah, it started in Kingston at the Rose Theatre 3 years ago, but earlier this year we were at St George's in Tooting. And that was great, that was really good. It was a new thing for us because we were exhibiting on a ward, on a ward, then a corridor, really busy corridor. And each year they have a different theme for International Nurses Day. And it really helps us just focus the exhibition, just give it a different flavour each year. It's so wonderful to get it here at St Pancras because we see the physical work. At the St George's exhibition, everything's postcard size, so everything's quite small and a kind of uniform, on a uniform level in a ward. But here we get the opportunity to see the real piece. I love the physicality of it, and what Peter does and Elaine do here, and make it become much more alive actually, and it feels much more a special occasion. And the different sizes, the different qualities, the craftsmanship. I really enjoy coming and discovering the works again. One of the beauties of these exhibitions is we put a call out. Often there's artists we've never exhibited before, we know nothing about, I know nothing about, and then a real surprise when you open up that email and find their work. A mother and child walking away, and and then a man sleeping. It's the quietness of it, the kind of simplicity of it, and the stillness of all three. Yeah, so Ella, she's done this triptych about Freya, her friend, who's got alopecia. But Ella's been exhibiting with us for about 5 or 6 years, and she always throws her hat into the exhibitions and comes up with a different concept each time. And this was a very challenging triptych of photographs. And what was so wonderful was that Freya came to the exhibition too.
And the art of caring is a sort of universal thing that should touch everybody. In order to sort of match the theme of the Art of Caring exhibition, which was sustainability, I felt that obviously they are caring for the children, but you've got the two different generations, which I found very attractive in the family group. I'm usually landscape or portraits, but I love to put people in my landscapes. And this was before they redeveloped Edmonton Green. I like to have a real sense of place, and I also tend to do rather run-down places, almost not wealthy ones, with very ordinary people in them, and I've decided it's because I identify with these sorts of people. And obviously I've had a family I identify with the ladies in the photograph, and so to me it sort of all ties in with how I am.
Because we're totally inclusive, anyone can exhibit and anyone can get involved. Some people want to send something written in, much more comfortable writing something. So every year we come up with a poetry element to it, or a haiku element.
Dogs draw dogs like human dogs. Yeah. Cats. I don't draw cats. Lots of drawings on the walls. man and his dog. Red trousers. Just make them up, that's all.
I only just started painting seriously recently, but throughout my life, since childhood, I've always been more of a drawer. Because the exhibition is called The Art of Caring, I selected artwork to display to do with caring. I had a friend here whose auntie passed away, and she wanted me to do a butterfly picture. I titled it Always Thinking of You, and the other one was I'd Never Forget You, and everybody can relate to that sort of thing. So that's why that's what inspired me to do those two butterfly pictures that I have up in St. Pancras Hospital exhibition. I do the creative writing group here on a Wednesday. I do art illustrations for the Emma magazine, which is based on the homeless, which is to do with this, which is in aid of this hostel. And this is the magazine that we've all contributed to at Arlington. This is somebody else's writing, and this is my cat illustration. This is my picture too.
I just wanted to get help artists to show their work and reach a new audience, I think. You know, caring's a big thing for me. I think we can recognise our own strengths and weaknesses and what we want to get out of an exhibition, and then look after each other. So yeah, I think caring, not only is it the kind of theme and the artwork about caring, but the whole way we do it.
I went to art college first time round at 16, 17 and qualified as a specialist art teacher, and thought I'm not sure about that. So you know, I got a job in the civil service, and I had a really interesting period of, I was just saying to Mel, 5 or 6 years making training and information films for Department of Transport, which was really fantastic. I loved it so much, you know. Well, I've always painted, but yeah, and then sort of going back to do a fine art degree course sort of like 6 years ago, whenever, was a great introduction back into my painting practice. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been a maker. I'm from a generation of people who make things, you know. So seamstresses, watchmakers, carpenters, you know, they're all in my family. So I rebelled by going into sciences. But I always promised myself I'd go back. So when I was 34, I quit teaching and went off and did a photography degree. And part of that decision was the realisation that life is short. My mum sadly got cancer and passed away, and I thought, well, either my life will mirror hers, or I've got a whole world ahead of me, and hadn't I better start doing something with that world? So I decided that art was the thing I needed to do. Art's always been the thing I've needed to do, and so I made the decision and took the plunge. So I took this beautiful painting, 20-year-old painting of yours, and just destroyed it in order to recreate this new form. So I went for what would happen on the surface would reflect the pictures you sent me.
Right.
And Graham sent me pictures of his post-op all these massive stitches. Yeah, I wanted to take something that was quite brusque and quite aggressive, and just work with it. And to me, it's more simple stitching that you do when you're little. You know, if you're learning to stitch on card when you're about 7 or 8.
And it's got this sort of other level as well, because the original artwork that I'd done, as I say, it was very much to do with the body's corporeal skin, cutting into the skin. And you remolded it, but then you sort of stitched it back, literally. Together. What really makes me quite emotional about this work is that, when I was very unwell, with cancer, there's a Maggie's Cancer Care Centre in Swansea Hospital. And it is that, that hand of healing, that hand of friendship, hand of support, hand of caring that reached out. The arms just come out, they sort of embraced you, as well as the NHS staff, the staff in Maggie's Centre as well. They're absolutely extraordinary,
I think Peter's brought something completely different. Again, it's an extra layer. It's not just my interpretations of Graham's artwork or a reworking of our friendship or a dialogue between us two. It's become this extra dialogue with Peter and what Peter's seeing.
That's why it's so fascinating to come here today and to see this in situ, and with another reference of the sort of transition, this sort of mirror, the journey from one time or place to another.
I like trees. I used to do a lot of drawing of trees in the past. Of course, I can only really use deadwood because I've been with some Aborigines in Australia, and I think a lot of it was a reconnection with nature. I did the red bush. We didn't want another red bush. I thought of yellow, but yellow on wood goes very greeny. It's difficult. And then I thought, well, it's obvious. We do a blue bush, and I chose this blue to get as close to the NHS blue as I could, because it's a context, isn't it? And it's a nice blue. I've been all over the world painting bits of wood and things I find, like this table, which was out in the courtyard, and Peter said, yes, I could use it, an extraordinary table. And the 3 circles, there was where the plant pots were. And I just said, I'd really like to work with that table. Because I work with wood, but the way this, whatever it is, plastic is cracked up, is like a natural form. And we had to, first of all, to write a haiku. So I thought, well, care and nursing. Nursing care sustains. Care sustains. We say to each other when we leave each other, take care. We all do it. But there's something which I've become aware of. In the government's 2012 Health and Social Care Act, they purposefully, I presume, because they know what they're doing, deleted their own duty of care. They do not have to care for us by legal obligation and by government law. They're really just a funding body now. And I just find this mind-blowingly terrible.
So I found pictures like the Madonna and Charles series I had, so I sent that. That was the first time. The second time, it was in St. Pancras. He wanted to put some pictures in there. I said, all right, I'll do that. And then I found out it's a psychiatric hospital. I thought, I was like feeling much at home, when I went there. It's like, I was a deputy sister, I was a staff nurse. I worked with I worked in the wide range. I worked with homeless, drug and alcohol in London. My last job was I worked with a medium secure unit. People came from prison who were very ill. I think I've been doing textile all my life, but I went to university to do textiles. And from then on, 2010, I've been working and exhibiting my work. And, textile just wanted me to do textile because of the colors and the fabric, and you just can play around with it, So it's really, really interesting. Children in India with parents, no parents, living in a community. She had a white patch on her face. So the girl must have gone through some trauma. You know. I want to catch a piece. I want to catch an image that I could use it, you know, that would be, I just don't want to do any image that doesn't mean anything for the sake of doing, but do something, capture something that when you look at it, it means something to anybody and everybody. Those were the Syrian refugees were crossing the borders, you know, then put a face on them. They were like ghosts moving across, nobody cared about them. You find the light bit where the light hits the face and the dark side. So what I do is the light skin, I use a couple of threads, different colored thread to get the skin tone. Then just it's free-handed, getting the shape and the lines across the face, how, you know how people paint with brushes and get the tone, and I just use it with my needle and thread and try to get the angle.
At Kingston we've started to grow a body of work and a body of evidence around the benefit of art in its various forms. The staff, students, visitors, patients who have seen the exhibition in situ at St George's were thoroughly enthused by what they saw and felt added real value to the environment.
Yeah, we are very delighted to have everybody here and to your welcome to colleagues from Kingston and to all the guests here tonight. This is the second year that we've hosted the Curating.
One of the things that has struck me the last two exhibitions I've been to is talking to people about their range of experiences that they have, both in creating the artistic works, but also in engaging with it when it's on display.
I